Today's sweet Ramble video was sent in by a longtime subscriber and patron of the channel. The topic revolves around the importance of employer prestige and doubts about whether the grass is actually greener on the other side. Just as a reminder, if you want to submit an idea for the next Ramble video, then join our Discord community and take part in the discussion there to crowdsource the next topic. Without further ado, let's get into the question. I want to first discuss the idea of prestige when it comes to FAANG, or really any employer in general. It seems that there's always a lot of weight put on the brand name when it comes to where you work, and it's understandable. If you tell people that you work at Google, then they automatically think that you're quite smart and you're probably making a lot of money. But is the prestige of where we work really all that important? If we worked at the most prestigious company in the industry, but we also hated our lives, would it be worth it? For some, yes, having that name on your resume is worth its weight in gold. The social validation, the feeling of accomplishment, knowing that you just made it to the top. But it's never really that simple, is it? There's definitely downsides to chasing prestige blindly, and if these are not managed properly, they can outweigh the benefits that you'd get in the first place. At a fundamental level, the prestige of a company doesn't really matter that much. Perhaps, in the early days of one's career, it can hold a lot of weight and open a lot of doors for you. But as you grow in experience, the importance will start to taper, especially if you're living in a tech hub. It's much less impressive that you work at Google when half your neighborhood works there. Then it just becomes a competition of who's the highest level, who has the most RSUs, and other pointless ways to measure the length of one's... Let's not get punished by the algorithm here, I think you get the point. One shouldn't optimize for prestige in the long term. Focusing on a good place to grow and develop, to have a sustainable work-life balance, and to bring in a good amount of money are things that are much higher on the agenda. Don't lose sight of the forest through the trees. One can work at Meta, but also be quite incompetent, unable to really do anything without the tooling or abstractions they provide. And as soon as you leave that bubble, you're quickly going to realize that you can only get so far in the name. Position yourself at a company where you can master your craft. If you'll be working for decades upon decades, well then might as well become as good as you can. The flashy names and the titles can come later. Me personally, I would never optimize for prestige itself as the sole criteria for evaluating a role or company. Hell, I'd probably work as a SWE at McDonald's if the pay was higher than what I currently get at Meta. On the other side, I'm also not really from a culture that puts too much emphasis on prestige. My parents don't live and die on the fact that I work there. They don't really get some sort of pride at social gatherings that, oh, look, their son works at Meta, look at what he's achieved. It's not really something that ever comes up. As long as I'm doing well for myself, then they're happy. They don't need some esoteric titles or company name to be proud of me. But I also get it that in other cultures, it's probably not always like this. There might be some familiar pressure to chase that prestige, even if it's really for nothing. I think that if you're successful in doing well for yourself, then regardless of where you are, that pressure should probably be unwarranted. But what if you really do feel that itch inside of you to give it all up and go somewhere new? Maybe the thought of not working at a more prestigious company eats you up at night, knowing that you could be earning more money if you just lead coded for days on end and cracked that bigger company. Well, in this case, one needs to really consider whether the move is worth it. They say the grass is greener wherever you water it. If you're at Amazon, provided your manager is not out for blood and trying to pip you, and you're actually enjoying yourself in the work you're doing, then perhaps think twice before throwing it all away. A lot of the times, it's hard to truly make a decision on whether making a move would be worth it from the inside. Even if, let's say, you've done an internship at the company you want to move to, you'll never really understand that company or that team you're going to join until you're there. A lot of the times in these situations, our brains are so captivated with getting away from our current circumstances and the pursuit of something new that we put such an excess amount of weight on all of the good things and tend to ignore the bad. And when we finally make the switch, hand in our notice, join that new place, we realize the reality of what we've done. To leave or to stay, it's a hard decision to make. We'll toss and turn at night debating the move, whether it's worth it, the good, the bad, what we stand to gain, what we stand to lose. But ultimately, it comes down to the reasons why we're moving. Everyone's value system is different, and we all place differing weights on different factors. But I think there's probably two high-level things to consider, especially given where you are. The first is going to be obvious. If you aren't learning and feeling like you're progressing, then perhaps it's time to start looking elsewhere. Now, again, as everything in software engineering, it all depends on your situation. If you're 23, then not learning and developing is a big deal and something that needs to be addressed right away. If you're 55 and just coasting, well, then you really couldn't care less, you're just trying to get to retirement. As a general rule of thumb, the earlier you are in your career, the more of an importance there is to learning. There's no point in working at FAANG if all of your technical skills are going to be useless. If all your time is spent running experiments about the engagement change when a button is green versus blue, then you're falling behind. It may not feel that way given the large sums of money coming into your bank account, but you are. Perhaps you can grind your way up the corporate ladder a bit, but that when the day comes that you actually need to move, you don't want to be a position where you can't function outside of that particular company, where everything you know is so bespoke to one place or one tech stack that you just can't transfer those skills, because that's when you're really in trouble. If you set yourself a good foundation from the start and be a good, strong software engineer from first principles, then it doesn't really matter where you land, you'll always be successful. If the team you're on is expanding your skill set and teaching you something new week over week, then something bigger and better might not really be worth the switch. The second item is, of course, pay. While salary isn't everything, money is also still extremely important. Most of the time, if you hop to FAANG, then you'll probably almost double your compensation, especially if you're coming from quote unquote a no-name company. So the financial opportunity is definitely nothing to scoff at. Or maybe you are already at FAANG and you're about to hit your RSU cliff. Outside of that, I wouldn't really say it's worth the hassle of switching jobs for a 10% raise. While you certainly can job surf and just collect sign-on bonuses and marginally higher pay, the problem is that long term, you never really place roots somewhere and grow. Every time you switch roles, you lose all of that built up experience and context that is only relevant to that company. Those partnerships you've built, the peer relationships you fostered, all of that gets wiped away. You start from zero. And starting from scratch is a laborious process. Onboarding and getting up to speed can take months, if not a year. Just to get back into the groove you were before can take a long period of time. Is all of that headache really worth it for a bit more money? Again, if you're going to double your compensation, then by all means go for it. But between FAANG, unless you're going to get a promotion as part of the job hop, then it might not really be worth the hassle. I think to tie it back to a more personal level, you're currently an intern. Given the trajectory you're on, you're already rocketing ahead of your peers. At this stage, there's definitely no harm in trying out the other FAANG companies as an intern. See what you can get into, expose yourself to more experiences, and see what you like the most. As you develop as an engineer and as a person, your intrinsic motivations and desires will change. See what's out there and what will ultimately align most with your personality and engineering style. Giving yourself the most input to make a final decision will only allow you to better understand the landscape and not feel that sense of buyer's remorse because you already got a taste of everything that's out there. Now you're just choosing which one you like the most. Play the field, determine who you are as an engineer, what you value, what you enjoy, and then pursue that. Pick the company and establish roots there. When the day comes to think about moving, you can cross that bridge when you get there, but there's no point in trying to decide now what future you will want. Make the most of the opportunities in front of you and choose the path you feel will help you learn and develop the most. Ultimately, like I said before, the grass is greener wherever you water it. You can do great things wherever you are if you're willing to put in the work and make the most of the opportunity. I know what it's like when those feelings of doubt start to slip in your head and make you wonder. When that happens, you should just let them sit there. Assess your situation, weigh the trade-offs, give it time. Sometimes these feelings are just ephemeral. Sometimes it's our mood or our current mindset that fogs our vision and makes us think one way or another. Note that the feelings and track them over time. If they subside, great, it was just all in your head. If they linger continuously, then perhaps it's time to consider a change. And with that, we end the latest iteration of the Sweet Ramble series. I hope you enjoyed the video and perhaps learned something new from it. Until next time, goodbye.